Hey guys, it's Rift here, and today we're going to be looking at Mephiles versus Infinite. This was a versus matchup suggested by a viewer, and if you guys want to suggest more matchups in the future, feel free to join the Discord server, subscribe to the channel, and consider tuning into the live streams where we talk about your favorite characters. Now let's get started. Starting things off with Mephiles, who was debatably the main villain of Sonic 06, he has a couple of very impressive feats under his belt. Mephiles was capable of bringing Shadow to his knees with a single attack, and he was also capable of one-shotting base Sonic, despite the fact that he caught him off guard, with these feats easily putting him among the top tier threats that either character had faced at the time. He was also capable of fighting all of Team Dark at once, and even so strong that he could give Generations Shadow a pretty decent fight, even when Shadow had a couple of his Doom powers. As far as speed goes, he's capable of catching 06 Shadow off guard, who should be comparable to Sonic at that point in time, and he was also capable of reacting to Generation Shadow, although Shadow was able to react to Mephiles even when he had the element of surprise, so it is apparent that Shadow was still faster than Mephiles at the time, but even so, he should still scale to those levels. As far as durability goes, Mephiles was unfazed after taking a barrage of attacks from Omega, the same robot designed by Eggman to contain Shadow the Hedgehog. He could take hits from Shadow and Team Dark, even when Shadow had taken off the inhibitor rings, and he was also capable of taking hits from Generation Shadow with the Doom powers, although he was eventually overwhelmed. Even if his raw durability isn't all that impressive for modern standards, Mephiles possesses an insane regeneration factor, and he's also immortal, a trait that both him and Iblis share, since they are two halves of Solaris, who is also an immortal being. As far as Mephiles' hacks go, aside from the immortality, his most notable ability is his time manipulation and time travel abilities. He can manipulate darkness, he can create clones of himself, he can fly, he has aura, he copied Shadow's powers, meaning he should have access to things like the spin dash and homing attack. He can manipulate light, he can create a giant monstrous form of himself, and he also has energy constructs that he can use as blades. And if I'm being honest, that's just scratching the surface of all of the things that Mephiles is capable of. Moving on to Infinite, who was a villain in Sonic Forces that didn't meet his potential, but nevertheless he still had some very impressive feats under his belt. As far as AP goes, Infinite was consistently described as base Sonic's most powerful opponent yet, with Eggman describing him as his ultimate weapon, with the Japanese port of Sonic Forces describing Infinite as being 1,000,000,000,000 times stronger than any threat Sonic has encountered, which is fucking crazy to think about. He was capable of bullying Sonic in their first encounter, he could defeat Omega, he could bully Silver with ease, and even after the 6-month time skip where Sonic had quote-unquote surpassed all of his previous data, Infinite was still capable of bullying him into submission, to such an extent that Infinite, even in a weakened state, could also give Sonic a pretty good fight in the final battle. Speed-wise, Infinite in their first encounter with Sonic was capable of dodging all of his attacks, with Tails remarking that Infinite could indeed be as fast, if not faster, than this same version of Sonic. Infinite could also react to the double boost, a technique used by the Avatar and Sonic to escape null space, a void where time and space are irrelevant, meaning that he's possibly even faster. Durability-wise, Infinite doesn't have all that impressive showings, however during the battle at Luminous Forest, he was capable of taking a barrage of attacks from Sonic and just shrugged it off like it was nothing, with Sonic and the Avatar needing to beat him down in the final battle in order to eventually win. That being said, logically, he should still scale to his own AP, with him being so powerful that he could overwhelm the entire resistance with a single attack, with Eggman stating that yes, Infinite would have very much killed everyone if the Avatar didn't intervene. Intelligence-wise, Infinite is nothing special, however an area that gets consistently lowballed is his combat skill. Even before he was merged with the Phantom Ruby, he was already a very skilled swordsman. However, after merging with the Phantom Ruby, he was capable of matching modern Sonic and giving him a good fight, even though modern Sonic was described by Master Zik as being a master combatant in Sonic Lost World. Hacks-wise, the Phantom Ruby grants Infinite a plethora of abilities such as illusion creation, perception manipulation, and subjective reality. He can create pocket dimensions that exist outside of time and space, He can manipulate energy, he can project attacks, he has gravity manipulation, stat manipulation, vibration manipulation, size manipulation. He can create armies of himself, and he's also very resistant to certain hacks, as certain wisps literally don't affect him at all, such as the Void Wispin or the Cube Wispin. We've gone over a brief overview of their stats, so now it's time to compare the two to see who would win this fight. When it comes to AP and durability, I must say that Infinite is clearly the superior one of the two, largely due to the power creep within the series. Mephiles' only good feat against Sonic was when he killed him when his back was turned, so it's not exactly that impressive, and the only time he actually matched Shadow was when he caught him off guard, which, again, it kinda demeans how impressive it is. Not to mention, Mephiles was very much outclassed by Generation Shadow, meaning that he very much wouldn't scale to the Forces versions of these characters. Compare that to Infinite, where in a straight up fight, he could overwhelm Sonic at multiple points in the story. He could overwhelm Silver, as well as the entire Resistance with a single attack. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear he's the more powerful one of the two. When it comes to durability, obviously Mephiles has his immortality and his regeneration, but I do think Infinite can take more damage than him, since Shadow in Generations was capable of bullying Mephiles and sealing him away. Compare that to his 06 self, where he was physically incapable of doing so, as Mephiles just broke free from the fucking Scepter of Darkness. Compare that to Forces, where Infinite was capable of no-diffing attacks from Sonic. Speed-wise, Mephiles' best showing was when he was sort of able to react with Generation Shadow. However, even when he had the element of surprise, Shadow was still able to react to him, and he was clearly the faster one of the two. Compare that to Infinite, where in Forces, Sonic should logically be faster than his generation's counterpart, yet Infinite was capable of bullying him without much issue before and after the 6-month time jump, and he could also react to the double boost, which was the same technique that the Sonic and the Avatar used to escape null space, a void beyond time and space. Pretty sure he's the faster one of the two. In terms of intelligence, Mephiles is easily the more intelligent one of the two. However, in terms of combat intelligence, he's honestly nothing special. If you think about it, Mephiles has had so much time to scheme his plan in Sonic 06 that it kinda makes it less impressive to a character like Infinite, who was actually a pretty gifted fighter even before he got his powers, for example. Let me put it to you this way, Mephiles was immediately forced to fight Generation Shadow and he was easily outclassed, so that should put it into context just how limited he is when it comes to quick on your feet thinking, if you like. Compare that to Infinite, who could fight characters like Silver and Sonic, like modern Sonic, who is described as a master combatant. Realistically, however, I see this fight coming down to hacks, and these characters certainly have very large rosters of abilities at their disposal. Both Mephiles and Infinite are capable of summoning armies. However, I think Infinite is more impressive, since when Mephiles summoned his army, he had the power of 2 Chaos Emeralds at the time. Compare that to Infinite, where he can just summon an army by himself, with it being theorized in the game that he could summon an unlimited amount if he needed to. Both characters have access to things like energy projection and things of that nature. However, once again, I would lean towards Infinite, since he was going to kill every member of the Resistance at once with a single attack. And keep in mind that Forces Sonic and Shadow were also present for that attack, meaning that at his true power, Infinite would be capable of one-shotting Sonic and Shadow respectively, which Mephiles was indeed capable of. However, it was weakened versions of the characters back in 06, and he also had to catch them off guard in order to perform these feats, whereas Infinite just sort of did it. And whilst yeah, it left him in a weakened state, it should still be a testament to his power. Especially as in the English port of the game, Eggman described Infinite as being 1,000 times more powerful than any threat Sonic had faced at that point, with the Japanese port saying that he was 1,000,000,000,000 times stronger than any threat he had faced, which is fucking crazy, especially since technically, Sonic has encountered Mephiles in the past. What's even crazier to think about is that Eggman would know firsthand that Sonic has encountered the Time Eater. Imagine if Infinite was 1,000,000,000,000 times more powerful than the Time Eater. That would cause some issues in the Sonic community, probably. The only possible way I can see Mephiles winning is if he was to go back in time and kill Infinite when he was a member of the Jackal Squad, before he even had the Phantom Ruby. And whilst this is certainly something Mephiles is capable of and willing to do, unfortunately Infinite has a counter for that. Not only is he significantly too fast for Mephiles, however he could also trap the being in null space, a realm where time and space aren't present, which would probably render his time powers irrelevant. I mean, if time literally doesn't exist in this realm, then time-based powers, it stands to reason, would no longer be effective, with Mephiles having no speed feats comparable to that of Force's Sonic and the Avatar, meaning that he possibly wouldn't even be able to escape null space without the Chaos Emeralds. And just as a small conclusion, I want to address this argument real quick since I know people are gonna bring it up. Mephiles is immortal, he can't die, and yes, you'd be correct. However, let me give you guys a small reality check. When you have a character like Infinite who is physically superior, debatably the better fighter and has better hacks, this fight is not even close, and being immortal would not allow you to win. It would simply allow you to keep losing for all of eternity. And that is why ultimately at the end of the day, I think in a battle between these two villains, I don't see it being close. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and consider joining the Discord server and tuning into live streams where we talk about your favorite fictional characters. Have a good day guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.